Hey guys, so we have about 8 different types of variables in Java. First of all, let's talk about these four. They basically store the same type of information in them. They all store um, integers, okay? If you can't create a byte variable and store 10.5 in it, for example. You can only store 10, 20, 100. That's the kind of information you can store in these four variables. Now, since they all store only integers, so what's the difference between them? Why did they make 4 different types of variables just for integers? Well, the thing is, when you create a variable, the computer automatically reserves some memory to store information in that variable. Now, sometimes you just want to store a very small amount of information that takes up very little memory. So you don't want to waste memory. You don't want to reserve a lot of memory and use just a little bit of it. So, like, if you want to store like 5 or 6 or 100 as in an integer, sorry, as an integer in a variable, it's best to use bytes because it's small, it takes up less memory, and it's very limited to small integers. But if you want slightly larger integers, it's best to use short. You really shouldn't use long to store like 5 in it. It's a huge waste of memory. But that's basically it. Long takes up the most memory, int is less than that, short is less than that, and byte is the least amount of memory only among these four. And let's move on. We have float and double. Now the first four here, they stored integers, but float and double, they stored decimals, like 2.3, like 3.14, like 2.78, these kinds of decimals. And now the difference between them is that float is limited to less numbers after the decimal, and in return takes up less memory. But the double takes up more memory and is not as limited as the float. But that's only after the decimal. Like the float is limited to, you can only use a certain amount of numbers after the decimal, but with the double you can use more than that. And next we have the boolean. I love a boolean. The boolean is either true or false. It cannot be anything else. It's either true or it's false. There's nothing in between. There's nothing else other than true or false. Now let's say, for example, you created a variable, let's call it a, and you stored 5 in it, and you created another variable called b, and you stored 3, let's say 3 in it, and you created a boolean expression. It's either true or false, right? Okay. Now that expression is a is less than b. Now think about that for a second. A is 5, b is 3. Is 5 less than 3? No, 5 is greater than 3. So this expression is false, right? So this Boolean expression returns false. This expression is false. This Boolean variable is false. It's not true. However, if you change this to this, 126 is greater than 5, so that's true. That's basically what a Boolean variable is. And of course, you can store this expression in a variable. I mean, you can say like that x equals this expression right here. And so when you want to print out x, let's say print x, this is not Java code, it's just code, doesn't matter. And if you want to print x, it's going to print out, true. Right, it's true. So it's going to print out true because this expression is true, it's not false. It makes sense. But that's it. Right. There's the last kind of variable, the char. Now, so far I've never really used char, and I've never needed to use it. I've never seen anyone use it yet, but you can only use this to print and use symbols that aren't in your keyboard, generally speaking, like alpha, beta, like sigma, like the Greek alphabet basically, as well as the infinity sign, and I don't know what other kinds of symbols you can use. I've never really used this before. And you kind of use code that's similar to the following: a forward slash, then I don't know, some letter, maybe I've seen U only, and then some number, I've seen like 38, 39, or 40, and then some letter after that. I've never really used this, so I don't know much about it. I apologize for that. And if this is what you were looking for, I'm sorry, I don't know much about it. Yeah, that's basically the kinds of variables we have in Java. If you learned something, if you got what you came for, please hit that like button. If you want to learn something more about Java, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section below. I'll be sure to answer as long as I can, and refer you to a place if I can't answer that answers your question. And if you ask me a question that requires a video to explain, I'll be sure to make that video as clear as possible. And if so, subscribe so you can not miss the video. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching again, and enjoy Java. It's a great programming language.